Hey, Mark here from MakeTheMostOfMassage.com. I'm here with Dr. Charlie Johnson. He's a physical therapist, and I'm really excited to have him here today. He wrote this book, Lower Back Pain, and I'm just going to let him introduce himself, and then we're going to talk about how to develop a relationship with a physical therapist, and we're also going to talk about when we need to refer out. Like, he'll give some ideas of like conditions and things that would warrant referring to someone else or to recommending a client go somewhere else. So let's do the intro. So
Sure.
Tell us a little about yourself, Charlie.
Yeah, so thanks, Mark. So again, my name is Dr. Charlie Johnson. I'm pretty informal, so we'll just go by Charlie from now on. Okay, so hello, everyone. So I'm a physical therapist. I have my doctorate in that, and I have a board specialty in orthopedics. So I got my doctorate from a little school in central Pennsylvania called Lebanon Valley. It was a straight-through doctorate program. I got to work with a lot of great people, do a lot of cadaver labs. You know, I taught human anatomy there, so that was pretty cool. And then I was just like really addicted to learning. So, a lot of times now people get out and they kind of just like ride the wave, and time goes past and they haven't picked up, say, an article or a book in years, and for me, I just like take what I do really seriously, and I'm just super passionate about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hungry, and what I did for that, because of that, is I practiced for a while, and I realized it was really hard for me to find like really good, solid mentorship. Part of that is because in healthcare, people are really busy, right? So I'd be seeing many, many patients, and I just noticed that a lot of times therapists, again, were just kind of just doing like the textbook treatment, the cookie cutter kind of treatment, and that was something I wanted to get away from as quickly as possible. So after practicing for a year and a half or so, I applied to residency programs. So for those of you who don't know, residency programs are basically specialty programs. So just like physicians can specialize in cardiology, if you have a heart problem, you'd go there, whatever. Physical therapists can do the same. So I applied to residencies, and I went out to University of Southern California. So it's the #1 rated residency program in the whole U.S., which is pretty cool. And I got a board specialty in orthopedics. So when I was out there, I worked with spine surgeons, knee surgeons, angels, spring training camp, all
Not
kinds
angels,
of...
Angels.
Baseball
Okay,
angels,
okay.
And the knee surgeon for the Dodgers and for the LA Kings and all that. So I got to work on the kind of medical surgical side, getting that mentorship, but then also in the clinic mentorship, and also did research in shoulder pain, back pain. Started writing this book, and then taught also in the program at USC. So really kind of cool multimodal program, and that's kind of what I bring to the table, a bunch of different experiences. So that's about me. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I just want to establish our relationship. I met Charlie at a local running store, All Kinds of Fast. He was doing a demonstration, and he impressed me with what he was doing and how he was relating to the runners there, and the information he was providing, because it's very unusual, very different than the physical therapists that I've met before. But today I want to talk about, one of the things I want to talk about is like, if a massage therapist was trying to like establish a relationship with like a physical therapist to recommend that a client may go there or not, what are the kinds of things, like the do's and don'ts, would you, like, what would be a turn off?
Okay.
Like, for like, if you saw a massage therapist come in, you know what I mean, and they just want to introduce themselves.
Sure.
Would a massage therapist like offer a demonstration massage just to show?
Sure.
Not that they're just like begging for referrals, but they just want to establish a relationship. How would you go about? What would you think would be good advice for?
Yeah. So like maybe it's just me, but I consider myself to be like pretty chill and open to things. All right. Yeah. So if I can use that, okay. But with that being said, like we all have the same thing in mind, right? We want to help our clients, patients, customers, whatever, feel better and move better, right? So. At the end of the day, I mean, I think that, you came to me, for example, after chatting with me, and obviously, massage is something I still have to maybe get from you or whatever. But the point is that, like, if you're looking for a physical therapist to refer to, there needs to be that open line of communication from the beginning. So, a physical therapist that you might want to refer to is somebody who says, hey, like, come and sit in on one of my sessions, or hey, like ask me whatever questions you have. Here's my cell phone. So I think that just seeing that up front is kind of unusual. A lot of people kind of close off very quickly, and it's difficult to get in touch with them or whatnot. But I think finding a physical therapist who's really open to you, to sharing ideas, number one. There's often this idea of, I call it like abundance versus scarcity. There's a big scarcity mindset out there, okay? In that, like, oh my gosh, we can't chat because you're going to take my patients and I'm going to take your patients. When you think about it, how many people do you see hobbling across the road who are doing nothing about it? Right? So at the end of the day, I try to take the idea of this whole abundancy mindset, in that we can really help each other get to the same kind of goal, right? So I think that a PT and a massage therapist are a good kind of team, so to speak. So what I would say is, first things first is like look for somebody who's open to establishing rapport and kind of reciprocates things. See, and I would just ask them, if they'd be willing to, have you come on in, or, I'd just say, hey, like, I'd like to learn more about your practice, and maybe, make it a win-win. Hey, like, I have people that need help, and, can you tell me a little bit more about your practice? And, I'm looking for somebody good to, kind of coordinate care with. I mean, that's a win-win. It's not as though you're just looking, for help, from your perspective. Right. So it's kind of a two-way street. Right. So I think establishing that through, just making sure the PT is open to having you come in, kind of ask questions, and with that abundancy mindset, share information. Right. I'm going to help you with your clients if you ever need help. Charlie, I'm trying this massage, whatever. Okay, hey, did you think about this? Did you think about that? Right. And then you could. The goal is that if I were to see some of your patients, I can keep in touch with you and let you know how things are going and what I think, so that you can learn from that too. Right? We're all here to kind of, again, have the same goal. So, as far as establishing that rapport, we talked about being, kind of finding someone with that open relationship.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what I was thinking too, number one is that we're actually going to do the massage today. Right now, no,
cool.
I'm joking.
Whatever.
No.
Right. The phase is right as can be, right?
Right. But no, what I liked about our relationship is that when I sent you a client, it was a client that I had for a long time, 20, 25 years. Yeah. He was in severe back pain, and he had gone the whole gamut of shots. He actually had 3 sets. We're not violating HIPAA laws, right? Because we're not saying the name.
We don't know who the person is.
We don't know who.
I don't even know who they are. No, just
kidding. So he went through the whole thing, and things really weren't working. But what I was allowed to do, my client was fine with me going there and just observing. So I got to see firsthand the kinds of things that he was doing. It was sort of like, that was part of my vetting too, and Charlie will vet me with the massage when that ever happens. Like, right? No, I'm joking. But what I got to see was you do your work, and I got to learn a lot that I didn't know before. Yeah. And I got to see, and with that experience, I can easily refer to him. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to just talk about was like scope of practice, and like when we're looking to recommend someone or recommend for someone to go somewhere else to first of all, when is that time when someone on our table should be sent somewhere else, and two, who should we send them to? This is sort of like building up our contacts, right? So we need to have contacts in the health field of like when we want to recommend someone to go somewhere when it's not working with what we're doing. So the first one,
cool. Yeah. So real quick on the last one, let me close it real quick. If you're trying to form a relationship with a physical therapist and they are unwilling to sit down and have a conversation with you and answer whatever questions you may have, or vice versa, me referring back to a massage therapist, probably not a good fit. Okay, so so with regards to like when to refer out or whatnot. So one of the cool things about residency, I'll start this off with a little story. It's gonna be very quick. Okay, so in residency, we very clearly learned that we all have our strong suits, right? So we're all good at certain things, and perhaps we're not so good with other things, right? That goes for anybody, maybe you or any of the massage therapists watching this. So I know physical therapists who will treat everything and anything, right? Even though right next to them is somebody who's better apt at treating that specific condition, right? But whether it be for business or ego or whatnot, I learned very quickly to kind of set that aside and say, ooh, I'm not so sure about this. So on my end, the rule that I use, and this will apply to massage therapists as well, is that if we can put that aside, right, we very quickly, again, the rule that I use is, hey, if I ever get to a point where I'm uncertain, if I don't know what the heck's going on, okay, just to put it frankly, or I'm uncertain about what's going on, and or I don't have sufficient clinical thought process or reasoning as to I'm going to do A, B, C, and D, and they should end up here, right, for X outcome, whatever that is, getting better, feeling better, whatever, okay, and I can't put those pieces together, then I refer out, okay? The same thing would go within the scope of a massage therapist. If somebody's coming in, they're having some pain or problem or something like that, and you're working on them, and you can honestly say, well, I don't know what I'm dealing with here. And I don't think that's, if you're being authentic with yourself, I don't think that's too much of a cloudy question. If the person's laying there, they've got pain, numbness, tingling, zapping down their leg, and you're like, I don't really know what's going on here, probably the time then to refer out. So that's maybe the litmus test, right? Is like, if I don't know what the heck's going on and or I can't put the puzzle together and I can't project, hey, this is what I'm going to do and I would expect X, Y, and Z, and that's not clear to you as far as how to manage that person, then it's time to get some help. And I would do the same.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. I like that. Yeah. The other thing is that we're talking about like who to refer to or who to recommend. Now this is really interesting to me because I had my like hierarchy without any offense. Right?
No, it's okay, whatever. I wasn't on the list, no.
No, you're on the list, but the pyramid was like orthopedist up here.
Yeah.
So, and I'd have my contacts of who I'm going to refer to, chiropractors. I have one that's great for necks. There's another one that's good for lower back. Yep. So I have all those down pat for myself.
Sure.
But what I didn't realize was you have a different presentation of maybe how we might want to rethink who we're referring to. And it makes a lot of sense to me. And I just want you to explain that.
Sure.
Because the traditional is, orthopedist, x-rays, MRI, shots. And I mean, if we can talk, just bring it to something basic like back pain. We can say that, but you've got a different take on that.
Yeah. So I mean, with my experience, physical therapists on the West Coast at least. Okay, I don't know how mainstream it is on the East Coast yet, but we would actually work in the emergency department. All right, so we would be the primary point of contact. So can you imagine that you have a cold or something, you go on to see a physical, you're going to say, "Oh my, what the heck's going on?" Right? But these people would, because what we see is that the majority of people who present to the emergency department or something like that have some musculoskeletal problem, so neuromusculoskeletal problem, something that physical therapists greater than almost anybody else out there can manage. All right, so with that being said, we're well trained in differential diagnosis. We know the evidence. All right, and I'll tell you about some things to look for in PTs who might be able to be a little bit stronger at that. I can talk about that. Okay. But differential diagnosis, combining the research to pick out big and ugly things, right? So the worst case that happens, the old model is, yes, you go to a family physician who usually gives some type of medication to kind of, if it's inflammatory, whatever, decrease that response or whatever, okay? Has the person follow up, in 4 weeks. If the person's not doing well then, not only have they missed all that time and energy and whatever, money from work or whatever they've missed out on, then they're recommended an x-ray, an MRI, something like that, which costs a lot of money. And on the back end, they almost always end up with physical therapy, all right? Because we're finding that a lot of those surgical interventions and things like that and medications have side effects, and they're not as successful as we once thought they were. So what we found is that if you nip it in the bud, and all the research shows that if you get somebody with back pain, in this case, acute back pain, if you get them to somebody within the first 2 weeks, they're going to do a heck of a lot better than if you put them through that whole cycle where now you've recommended and they got to set up an appointment, which takes a while, and they go down this road, because then by the time somebody like myself sees them on the back end, they're chronic, and we're dealing with a lot of other issues, which include psychosocial issues of people who have been in chronic pain and start to go down this fear avoidance cycle of, oh, I don't want to do that, I'm worried about that, or oh, I've been told now that I have a herniated disc or something going on in my spine, oh, I'm not so sure about, and we start to freak people out if we go down that route. So the worst thing that happens is, you know, maybe that's my question. What's the worst that happens? You refer to a physical therapist on the front end, and I see somebody, and I put the evidence together, and I say, oh, they have a previous history of cancer, they're losing weight, they're greater than 50 years old, you know, and they have whatever it may be, okay, a previous history of cancer. Oh, well, that fits in with some things I'm concerned about. And it doesn't look mechanical through my diagnosis. I can't easily reproduce it, it's constant, whatever. The worst case that happens is then I know where to send them. They need blood work for some ESR stuff. You know, they might need a radiograph or an X-ray first. That's the worst that happens. And I've picked up plenty of times different fractures and things like that. So maybe it's just that, you know, letting people know that we have that knowledge to kind of triage and make that call up front.
So how many physical therapists or doctors like you that have you have to look for the people with those credentials, right? The physical therapists, because you don't want to just send it to someone to like NovaCare. That doesn't, right? I mean, it's not, it's like, So how do you find those people and...
Great. Okay, so, it can be challenging, right? But the first step is number one, you guys doing your vetting process, right? If you're going to PT and they're not willing to chat with you and they're not willing to share with you what they know and what they don't know and be open about that, then probably not a good fit whether they know a ton or not. Might not be the best fit for your patient. Maybe they have all the skills in the world, but they don't have the therapeutic relationship that can be formed there, right? So it's all kind of a triangle, right? But at the end of the day, having a residency, having gone through a residency and having a board specialty is less than 1% of all physical therapists in the whole entire country. So don't use that per se, but ideally if you could find somebody who at least has a board specialty, all right? That's there are a lot of different credentials and names that are little, you know, initials that go after PT's names. The standard is DPT, Doctor of Physical Therapy, and then the others would be like any kind of combo of like 3 letters, and we have like 7 big specialties. We have geriatrics, sports, so as an SCS, sports certified specialist. I have an OCS, orthopedic certified specialist, pediatrics, all kinds of stuff. Okay, but the point is that you can look online. All right, if you go to ABPTS, so it's ABPTS, I believe it's .com, you might have to check that, but it's American Board of Physical Therapy Specialties. You can actually search within your kind of region for people who have a certain specialty. So you can search within 25 miles of people who have a board specialty in, say, orthopedics, all right? And you can find any physical therapist on there, okay? Now, it's not to say that they went to a residency or they didn't. That's what we're trying to figure out in the profession, because there's clearly a difference between somebody who goes and studies and is in a specialty program and has that versus somebody who you can just read a book. It's not to say the test is easy by any means, but usually the people who have those credentials are on the up and up and at least working to always be better and do the best things in the interest of their patients. So abpts.com, I believe it is, American Board PT Specialties. You can find all the info there.
Well, what we'll do is that the transcript notes will have all that information there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So yeah, that's good.
Cool.
Well, that's really good information. Thank you. I really appreciate you sitting in and letting us know what's changing, actually, hopefully changing in this new model. And how we can fit in to help our clients out the best. So thanks a lot, Charlie.
Hey, thanks so much, Mark.
I'll put your information up there too. Would it be okay if someone contacted you if they had questions?
You put my info up there. I love interacting with people who are on the same wavelength, right? Again, we're all trying to help people. You know, some I think. The other thing is, like, don't be intimidated by, you know, the hierarchy there. You know, a lot of times it's easy for, like, oh my gosh, massage therapist is going to speak to a PT, and they, if you get that vibe, again, probably not a good fit, all right? So, you know, be open and actively seek out physical therapists. Hopefully you'll find the right one, okay, and you'll probably know who that is when you interact with them. But yeah, reach out to me. I love connecting with like-minded people, and if I can help you out in any way, whatever that is, then I'll do it. So,
cool. All right.
Cool.
Thanks for watching. Make the most of massage.com, and we'll catch you later.